Good morning. Early morning. Early episode. Epic Pikachu never misses. Even when I throw a curveball and start 30 minutes early. Pikachu, did you Did you see the Doc made a comeback appearance at GOML? I swear, just when you think that person's just like gone, out of nowhere, in-depth retrospective of everything that you're seeing in chat. I also saw they were commenting on our YouTube, our SWS teams on the YouTube chat. Good morning, Z, Ren, Super Ren. I meant the on YouTube we're putting up the videos of the teams that are in the SWS. Not the like YouTube stream chat, but the just like the comments on our YouTube videos in general. The Doc was in there talking about, I think, talking about Milky Way. And I would never pay attention to something like that, but as a TO, especially as a TO of the biggest org, I guess, on planet Earth that doesn't actually pay anybody with competitive Splatoon, you don't want to have rabbit ears. And it's real easy to see like an army of people saying nice things about you and just one person saying something like Lowing sucks, and then like everybody, oh, this person says Lowing sucks, this is what everyone knows. It's like, so I try not to have like rabbit ears when it comes to things like that, but I am paying attention to what like everybody's reaction to SWS, because I really have high hopes that it will be the best event of the year online. And that's where I saw the Doc, and I was like, hey, follow us on YouTube. Let's go. Shout out to all around. Shout outs to you guys for being here early too. There's gonna be a bunch of people who will show up at 6 o'clock and be like, well, it started early. Like, yeah. Yeah, I posted it on Blue Sky and nowhere else. How could you not know that? By the way, we gotta be getting close to being able to push IPL for Twitch partner, right? We definitely got the number of streams. Low Ink, Super Jump, some SOSs, like a couple of those mixed in there. Like, we have enough streams for it. And Get On My Level was on IPL. Low Ink this upcoming weekend. These podcasts help with the streams. We'd definitely drag the like average viewership, but just 1 hour of viewership versus like 8 hours of 200 people watching GOML, it balances out, right? We can apply for partner. I've seen people get blankets before. Being Twitch partners, I want a Twitch blanket. Anyone know the name of this song that we are playing? The Slightly Relevant. What's the worst that could happen? They could shut us down. They've done that before. There we go. Paradigm _ There we go. What can we give you a VIP? Can we give you a VIP? No, we can't. We can time you out, though. Do you want to get timed out for like 10 seconds as a reward? That's the best I can do. Could also warn. I don't know what a warn means. Better get in line there. All right. I didn't hide the arrow. Oops. It's too early for me. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, well, you are getting crunk on a party boat in Toronto, finding a partner for the Girls Duo Cup tournament, getting stopped by TSA and having to explain the Kermit puppet in your bag. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. A quick minor side note that means nothing to anyone except for me. My shoulder is killing me. This back right one. I don't know why I do this, but every time I do my little welcome back thing, I do a little wind up here and a throw. What even is that? Why do I do that? That hurts. This might be the last, 287 might be the amount of times I can do a little arm throw there before we need to get some like Tommy John surgery on my back or something like that. We got a lot to cover today. We're doing 2 interviews. 2! One's pre-recorded, the other one's going to be live, which is why we're doing this episode 30 minutes early than usual, because they are across the pond and we don't want to keep them waiting too long, so we're just going to keep this thing going. News of tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener of the Popcast. July is busy. It is a hot girl IPL summer. Hot IPL summer. We got Low Ink going on this weekend. We had GOML last weekend. That wasn't really an IPL event, but we were streaming it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday was to the 2-player, 1-controller thing. Low Ink this upcoming weekend. I'll see if I can have time for a Low Ink preview. I didn't do one last month. I'll try to do one this month. Work is very busy in the summertime for me. And then after that, after this upcoming weekend, the Splat World Series is here. Qualifier 1 next Saturday, Qualifier 2 the Saturday after that, and then the finals the Saturday after that. We've already announced some of the teams. 4 of the teams from the West that are qualified. I think we have most of the teams from Japan already figured out. I think we're waiting on a few more things, but we are slowly announcing them as well. If you thought, I think we might have already announced like the favorite, but there's still a lot of names you guys know that have yet to be announced yet. So there's still a lot of really strong teams from Japan to go from there. But busy week, busy month, busy time of the year. Today we're going to be chatting with Cactus in a recorded segment. I talked to Cactus yesterday, almost immediately after they commentated grand finals of Get On My Level. We got a live-ish view from Toronto, so we'll talk to Cactus a little bit later today. All lands here on the Popcast. We're talking a lot about land stuff. And if you want to hear my thoughts on the whole hashtag potentially boycotting Riptide kind of thing, I don't have anything to add to the conversation that pretty much everyone in Blue Sky has already said, which is I understand that just because I feel safe going to a red state doesn't mean my wife would or my kid would or anybody of you in chat would. Everyone's got to make a decision for themselves, the level of comfort they have attending a venue like that, given the new crazy laws that I think could or haven't like officially been passed yet in that state. As long as I can still go to events to support the competitive Splatoon scene, I will do so. And I implore you to do so as well. I have no idea what tomorrow brings. So as long as there's still events to go to that can support and celebrate everything that comes with this community, I'm going to continue to do that. And I hope you feel safe enough and comfortable enough to continue to do the same. All that and more. But first,
there is
check this out.
Over Europe.
The great events of the past vanished.
There he goes, the voice of Bob, throws it in, gets it, and that makes Lekkerbeck Trek RRSL3 champions!
But there's always more Splatoon to be played.
This might be the opening that they need to break this basket.
Again! Can they get the lead they need? They got it!
More champions to be crowned.
And Gordon Ray shooting again! He loses the lead! And there it is! Kaiser are your European champions!
Be Be there on the 25th and 26th of October in the heart of Cologne.
inside the Experian Arena for Europe's next LAN major.
Stream live on Twitch and YouTube on Dude's channels. That SRB2 Dude. That's my channel.
See you there at Oktofest.
I told y'all it was coming. I hinted at it. I didn't know it was going to be that awesome of a video that is coming out there. But we're going to be talking about that today. And joining us live from across the pond to talk about that, welcome into the Popcast. Oh no, we're not there. I'm the only one who saw that, unfortunately, which is fine.
Do it again.
Yeah, you can do it again. You can. Okay, we're setting it up, and now empty chair, but joining us live from across the pond, making an appearance. There we go. There we go. Looking.
Mom, I made it. I'm on the Popcast.
You know what?
Let's go.
This has been a while in the making, because you DM'd me several months ago, and the problem always being you live too far away from me. What you're almost on Tuesday from where you are.
I mean, you could also say I'm not famous enough for the show. So
Yeah, well, I mean,
saw it.
I had K-Bot on last week, so obviously the bar's pretty low for fame of who can get on
here. Okay.
So,
I mean, K-Bot is my goat, so I wouldn't say that, but yeah. Thank you for having me.
competitive player, TO, content creator, Toyoben, like Toyota, as you just said, which is good. I listened to some of your content today, waiting for you to say your name, and I didn't find it at any point. So I just had to kind of roll with it.
Yeah, you're right, and I don't think I don't have an introduction saying, "Hey, it's your boy Toyoben again." So yeah, I don't think I ever really say it myself.
How you doing this evening?
Very good. Much more relaxed than last week when we had to do all the final preparations for the trailer and just having everything set up to go live and public with everything. So much more relaxed, but still a lot to work on.
Are you still playing competitively? Like, I know you were in DivX this last season, correct?
Yeah, not very successful though. I mean, we played one set on stream. Looked very funny because I was playing with my old mates from Hage Hinterländer, the weirdly named German pickup I have since the early days of Splatoon 3, or since the final days of Splatoon 2, I should rather say. But yeah, I don't really play competitively anymore because of time constraints and also putting more time into other things like organizing this event. But eventually I might come back again. If I wasn't busy moderating, commentating, TOing this event, this would be a good time to do a comeback. But yeah, sadly, since I'm so locked in to doing other things right now, not playing competitively anymore. But yeah, eventually maybe again.
Have you been? I'm assuming you've been to LANs before in Europe.
Hey, you're talking to the Breeze champion.
Was that Zero Depths that won the last one?
I played with Robbe, who is kind of... I mean, he said to me once, European lands are my playground. And he's not wrong with that. Because except for European champs, he has won every LAN he attended. He won RSL, I think... Oh, in the same year, he won RSL and Breeze. And I don't know if he won the Breeze or an RSL before that. So he won a lot of LANs in 2023. So, and I got second at the RSL 3 as well. So, and lost to him. So I said, if you can't beat him, join him, and teamed up with Robis, Knives, and Takemi.
Now,
Breeze.
RSL's the Rising Squid LAN, if I remember correctly.
Yes, exactly.
And I had someone on my show, Pat, I believe, who attended that. Was that there were two different setups and it was kind of at like a bar location. Am I recalling that correctly?
Yeah.
And Breeze is obviously, when anybody thinks of EU lands, Breeze is the first thing that comes to mind. How many breezes? How many breezes have you been to before?
I've only been to one, especially like there's more of a hurdle to go to a UK event for me. Like my first LAN ever was RSL 1 in Frankfurt, when we had the Platinum Cup qualifier as well, which at the time I was not good enough. So like far from that skill level. So I was, I think, 14 years old. My parents even allowed me to attend one day. So even if I made it to day two, I couldn't have played. But yeah, that was my first LAN experience. And then after that, of course, Breeze was by far the biggest one. And the first time I went to a LAN that big outside of Germany. So yeah, like 2023 for me was the year of LANs, with the German Championship, Breeze, RSL. Then I think 2024, early 2024 or late 2023 was, no, 2024 was the EU Championship, right? I think I'm messing up my timeline here. But yeah, there was like this one year where I really tried to go to like a LAN basically every 3 months. UC was 2023. Okay. Messed up my timeline. But yeah. So yeah, and that time I started to really miss in 2024 when suddenly it felt like we weren't really left with much after watching World Champs. Especially, I mean, you guys in NA have it different. It seems to me like, as from an outside perspective, there's like a big event in NA every 2 months or so. But in EU, we've been really struggling.
I mean, compared to the EU, yes, we're spoiled beyond. I mean, Get On My Level was this past weekend. It had 15 teams, but it seemed like a lot of fun. I guess the difference between why we have more seemingly bigger events in the NA is because all of our events are kind of like leached onto the big Smash events that are going on. Breeze is a standalone Splatoon only event, if I recall.
Yep.
Rising Squidland definitely was. Now, so let's get into Oktofest. How long did it take to come up with the name Oktofest? Because that seems like a perfect fit.
Like, okay. So like the story of the name was basically that me and Yoshi, one of my fellow TOs, live very close to Munich, the city where the famous Oktoberfest takes place every September. And so yeah, we live close to that city, and I don't know, like I don't even know which one of us threw the name in the VC, but we were like Oktofest. It's like very fitting. So that already tells you that our original plans were to host the event in Munich, which didn't work out because there weren't any great venues in the whole city that were like both good for us in terms of size and also technical equipment, and of course also affordable for us. So yeah, that's why we ended up ditching Munich, and also of course Munich, more in the south of Germany, being further away from the French, which you kind of want to have at your LAN event if you really want to make it a European LAN. It's always better to have it like closer to the center. So Frankfurt, Cologne, two cities in Germany with big airports and good train connections to the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Switzerland. Of course, airports important for UK or maybe Italian people, Portuguese people coming as well. And so we ended up with Cologne, which is kind of the convention capital in Germany, with Gamescom taking place there as well. So yeah, after picking up between Berlin, Munich, Frankfurt, and Cologne, we're very happy with our choice.
What can you tell us about the venue? Because I think I've seen somebody say like there's no venue better for Splatoon from for what this could be.
Yeah, I think it's you could say that it's the most professional venue any community organized Splatoon LAN has ever seen. Like we're talking about a venue that has hosted parts of the Trackmania World Championship, hosts CS:GO tournaments, Rainbow Six Siege, sort of like really competitive events on a different scale, and or with much larger communities. And so yeah, like we have everything in the venue already. We didn't have to worry about monitors, LAN cables, all that stuff that is like a whole different thing you have to worry about when hosting a LAN, and which already like put a lot of weight off our shoulders. And also, of course, the location was really like open to us, and really open-minded to seeing like this grassroots event. Like they know they won't any money off of it, but it's like we are lucky that we're in like that we have a venue that doesn't have to make a profit off of us, because Experience is more like it's a subsidiary of the biggest tech retail market in Germany, Saturn Mediamarkt, and so it's basically just like a prestige project for them to like showcase, oh yeah, we like gamers, and luckily because of that we don't have to make a profit for them. Otherwise the whole venue would be way too pricey for us.
What was it like
Yeah.
when you approached the venue? Like, did you have to explain Splatoon to them or anything like that?
Yeah, so yeah, we just basically ended up giving them a quick rundown of what happened in the recent years with, as I said earlier, with the LANs happening before that and there being a kind of a void we want to fill. And yeah, they were pretty open-minded to the idea, and we ended up explaining to them all the game modes and how Nintendo isn't always the easiest to work with. But that didn't deter them from agreeing to working something out with us. And we had some pretty big obstacles to clear. Of course, first off, the funding. Some people that looked at the signups already noticed, yeah, the price is more than, for example, Breeze cost for entry, and also RSL. But I would argue that it is definitely worth the entry, especially considering the venue, the events we're offering, the quality for viewers as well, and of course also if you want to have a big prize pool, there have to be entrants that also pay into that prize pool, because I'm sorry, but I'm not paying it. I'm just a broke student. Okay, it's but yeah. So with the new, we started organizing the whole event, or like started getting started approaching venues late last year, so around November. And we got an offer from Experian like shortly before the new year, which was, I mean, I'm not sure if I can say that, but it was cheaper than after the new year started, because they had some new guidelines from the high ups. And after that, like we had to really rethink if we could actually afford hosting an event there. So yeah, that was an unlucky turn of events, but yeah, we're lucky to have it made work so far.
You kind of mentioned when you went to Breeze that there's kind of hurdles going to another country, obviously a country that's an island. Are there any kind of hurdles when it comes to bringing in people into Germany? Because I'm assuming this is an event to where you want to pull in all of Europe into that kind of location. Is there like any kind of hurdles? And I know I'm an American asking this, so maybe like every Europeans are like, of course not. But like, what kind of issues could there arise with people trying to get into Germany from like other countries in Europe?
So if you're from outside of the continent and you're really taking a far flight, then Cologne is one of the pricier airports because there's the one next to it, Frankfurt, is just much bigger. So there's like much more of a supply and demand kind of thing going on. And yeah, prices, like if you really want to get a cheaper flight and you're fine with maybe taking a bus or train after that for another hour, then fly to Frankfurt and go to Cologne from there. But if you're from anywhere inside continental Europe, I think that Cologne is very well positioned for an international event, especially if you like going by train, because the train station in Cologne, with our venue being one station next to the train, next to main station, is like super central, positioned in the city, and as I said, like our main audiences being the biggest two communities of Splatoon in Europe, Germany and France. Having those two countries very well connected by train to this city was a really, really positive argument for Cologne as a place for our event. And of course, having the Netherlands, Belgium close to the border as well, like doesn't hurt, and it's easier. It's very easy for them to come as well. And yeah, that's big positives, I think.
And you look at, again, an American looking at it from across the pond and just seeing the scene as a whole. When you think about like pound for pound, the best countries that produce some of the best players, it is like Germany and France, I think, are right up there with United States is top heavy, but I think you look like at the whole spectrum, France and Germany seem to be kind of a tier above most of other countries. So I guess like being able to like bring in those two together, hopefully you can get a lot of teams from that. You're partnered with Dude. This is going to be on Dude's channel. Watson seems to be involved with this as well. I completely forgot about that person. How did is it nice that you're getting all this EU support from some of the bigger names in the Splatoon scene from EU?
Yeah, like so basically, Watson is much more heavily involved than Dude. We're basically collaborating with Dude, and he's providing us his platform. Since we thought that just creating a Twitch channel for this maybe one-time event, who knows, is not perfect if you want to reach as many eyes as possible. If you want to have as many eyes as possible on your event, then having a bigger platform to work with is a cheat code. And so, like, since I know Dude, Watson knows Dude, Dude knows us, we thought, why not just ask? Worst he can say is no. And so, yeah. Also, of course, having that as an argument, if you want to attract potential sponsors for an event, you can say we're streaming it on a channel with 130,000 subscribers, I don't know how many Twitch followers Dude has, but like 60,000, 70,000 maybe. Having that as like a number you can just throw out there is nice. So yeah, that about Dude. Big shout outs, of course. But yeah, Watson is definitely the guy on our team with the contact to Nintendo. So I feel like I can say we have 5 people on the TO team basically. It's Yoshi, the guy I mentioned earlier, who also made the soundtrack for the trailer, and who has his contacts at JBL, the audio, the headphone company, and having that also can be helpful. And then we have Desert, also former competitive player, who played for. I mean, this is way back. If you know Takeover, then I'm very surprised. But it was one of the late Splatoon 1, early Splatoon 2 teams, I think, that were like really high up. So yeah, he's an OG, I would say.
Okay.
And he was also very involved in Mario Kart competitive. Played in the same Mario Kart clan that Watson played in, the Wii Elite clan. So yeah, those two. Lean, of course, Lean Yoshi, the hacker guy, and our IT expert responsible for making all the setups work on LAN. So if you used Lean's seed checker, gear seed checker, or anything like that, then you know the guy. And yeah, that's our IT expert. He was, of course, also part of RSL. So we have someone that is experienced with setting up LAN setups, and having someone like that on our team is like gives us gives us peace of mind. Just knowing that we have someone that already did events on this scale and knows what they're doing is a really big contribution to the team. And then there's me, who did a lot of everything. But like some part of everything I just combined, and I think I did most of the communicating to people, organizing stuff, organizing the branding and all that. That was me.
What has been the reaction that you've gotten so far? I mean, you're talking about an EU LAN that Europe as a whole hasn't seen in a year and a half. You talked about Breeze last taking place, I believe that was November of 2023. So it's been a long time. It must have been feeling good to get some of the reaction early on from people who were excited about this.
Yeah, of course. Like for us, I mean, I was hyped to release the trailer for 2 weeks before we actually got to do it. And we wanted to go public with the announcement much earlier. So we already had to postpone it. Maybe I will tell that story sometime in the future for why we did that. But having to reschedule and postpone all of the hype that comes with it was a bummer, but it really feels good to finally have it out of your system and know people have seen it and see the work you're doing. And also, of course, are really hyped to see the actual event happen. So yeah, I've been nonstop reading through comments, checking Twitter and all that. So yeah, it just is really nice to see that people are actually looking forward to finally having a LAN event in Europe again.
Are you kind of concerned that 4 months, because you said you wanted to announce it a little bit earlier, it's 4 months from now, which is kind of like that sweet spot of, okay, maybe it's a little bit too soon, but there's still enough time for people to plan things about that. Is the 4 month window something you're concerned about?
For me, I would have wanted it to be a little bit earlier. I would have preferred to be at 5 months. I think it's always nicer to have something more in advance and make it easier for people to plan their vacation days, or like the flights. Flights also, the earlier you book them, usually the cheaper they are. So for me, I think we're still in a good time window right now. If we get closer than 3 months, I think we would have to postpone the event even further. But right now, I'm really happy with how we managed to get up everything in time. Yeah, I'm confident that this timing is pretty solid.
Did you want to share that participation goal that you sent to me?
Yeah, I mean, I think we would make it public eventually. But our goal from the beginning was to have it at 300 entrants. But we have an agreement with the location that if we successfully get at least 250 entrants, we'll be able to host the event again next year. Which, of course, having a returning LAN in Europe would be a massive thing. Because in the past, we've only had that with RSL and Breeze. Then COVID came, then Breeze and RSL happened once, and since then they didn't happen again. So having this unreliable system of not knowing, is this event happening? Also, where is it happening? Because RSL happened once in Frankfurt, then in the Netherlands, and then in some small town in Germany. I don't remember where exactly. But having a an event set in the same location, roughly around the same time of the year, I think just gives people security to plan for next year. And yeah, we really hope to reach that goal. It would be really awesome. We don't think, I mean, I would love to, but reaching the same number of entrants as Breeze had with 350, I think, yeah, I think it was 350. Seems a bit far stretched, but I'll gladly be surprised. And yeah, I mean, first of all, if we reach our goal of 250, I'm very happy, and I hope we can get there with your support.
250 is a huge event. I mean, you're like getting close to Riptide numbers at that point, and that would be awesome. Like you said, there's nothing concrete, there's nothing consistent with Breeze kind of going away. If this is something that reaches that goal and the venue that you're with wants to continue doing it, I think that would be massive, massive for the EU scene and for the competitive Splatoon scene as a whole. I mean, you know, America kind of sucks right now, but, you know, when things calm down and we can travel without, you know, it being weird, I think there'd be a ton of Americans who would like to go to that, an event like that. So I'm really excited to see this. As someone who's obviously not going to be going, I'm definitely going to be paying attention to this, and I know a lot of folks on this side of the pond will as well.
Hey, maybe there's a next time. You never know. You never know.
What kind of prizes? Now, you mentioned there was a prize pool. Oh, wait, no. Forget the prizes. What are there any side events? That's what I want to know about.
Yeah, the Switch 2 launch put us in a bit of a weird situation because, I mean, on one side, we have really cool games that you can play. Like, I mean, we have one game right now, but we have Mario Kart World, which we really wanted to offer as a side event. So this is not going to be the highest competitive integrity event, but there is going to be a Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart World event at the venue for 48 entrants, and there will be prizes for it. Those prizes we will announce in the future, but for the main event, I can already tell you that we plan on having at least a €2,000 prize pool. The exact distribution between teams we still have to discuss, and of course there will be there's still a couple of things we don't know right now, which is why we wanted to set the bar pretty low, but 2,000 is the bottom end. It could double, it could triple, it could quadruple, but we have that as our lowest bar set right now. Of course, there's also Salmon Run. Yeah, there's Salmon as well. Brian makes the rule set for that. So yeah, all the Salmon Run freaks out there, you have a guy that knows about the mode. Actually, it's not me doing Salmon Run because I play the mode once a year. But yeah, you have someone that actually knows.
Well, there you go. Breeze did Salmon Run too, and what I don't understand is over here we do 2 players 1 controller as the side event. Salmon Run's right there. I don't need to see 2 people awkwardly falling off the map and Mahi trying to play Clam Blitz. All right, show me some Salmon Run. Actual competitive Salmon Run is wild when you're a person like you and me who barely pays attention to the thing.
Yeah.
If Gray signs up with a pickup, do you just give them the prize pool and just skip grand finals?
I mean, no. I think we saw in the past how LANs are always different than online tournaments. And even if Gray got the usual people that he plays with, some of them have close to 0 LAN experience. And as someone that played on pretty sizable stages myself, I know that it is a very different feeling to just playing in front of your monitor at home. So yeah, I encourage Gray to get the best people he can find. as I do with people like Urza or Hypnos, or Brian or Sendu that will also come, or Kiver. I mean, all of them. I encourage them to get some good teams going, and in the end, I think it'll be a mix of skill and also, of course, the mindset you need to have when attending an event like this. Playing in front of a crowd is very different, and I think we'll see who has the coolness in front of the crowd.
Where can people find more information about this event?
Right now, you can check us out on basically everything. We have a Blue Sky, Oktofest LAN on Blue Sky, Twitter, on Instagram as well, and TikTok. We don't have a YouTube, but just search for Oktofest LAN or Oktofest SPL on pretty much all socials, and you'll find us. And of course, the most important site, if you want to sign up, register on start.gg/tournament/Oktofest 2025.
Toyoben, I appreciate you staying up late to do this. But yeah, I'm really excited when you reached out to me. It was like, hey, there's this big thing coming up. And then when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, that is good. So we're rooting for you guys for sure. We hope it's an awesome success. We'll definitely be paying attention to it. And I'll let you get some sleep now on this, what is now a Tuesday morning for you.
Again, thank you so much for having me. I really look forward to sharing more information soon. And yeah, see you soon and good night.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
There we go. So that was Toyoben, one of the main TOs for the Oktofest that is going to be taking place in Germany in October, namely enough. That's huge. I really hope that okay, so yes, obviously it'd be nice if it continued on for multiple years for consistency's sake. If anything, just having one thing so that it could inspire something else, you know? Like I should have asked this question, but I would assume that Breeze played a role in the inspiration of leading to Oktofest. And if Oktofest isn't something that's continuable because of the venue or whatever, it could lead to the inspiration to whatever's next that eventually will become continuable, become consistent. You know, we have a lot of locals popping up here on the States. We have a lot of whatever you define a major to be starting to pop up, and a lot of that plays a role into what Smash and Splash was, what Genesis eventually became with Splatoon and isn't anymore. So definitely we'll be keeping an eye on that. As usual, like I'm going to be doing with Cactus, with Get On My Level here in a moment, we will send a reporter, a Popcast reporter live on the scene to do some coverage on that, because we're definitely going to cover that in October. Oh, one interview down, one more to go. Let's have a little bit of a buffer. It is now time for the weekly recap. Freedom Dive. That's not the team. The name of the tournament is just Freedom Dive. Took place last Monday. It was won by Volti, Solja, Noah, and Jared. Second place went to Moonlight. In third place went to FT Win. What the hell was this? This is the most random, out of nowhere, significant tournament I think I've ever seen. The tournament's called Freedom Dive. It was a group into a double elimination on a Monday night. I think it ended at like 1:30 Eastern time, maybe 2. I tapped out. After Moonlight forced a bracket reset, I was like, I'm not going to stay awake enough to see potentially 5 more games of this. I'll just wake up, read the paper tomorrow. $150 prize pool. What the hell was this? Crazy stuff. Paddling pool number 326 took place last Wednesday. It was won by Timoris. Gutuma took second place, and Distinct rounds out your top 3. It is an American summer takeover of Paddling Pool. Unfortunately, it was halted by France. Americans won second place, the French team taking home the gold in this 2017 paddling pool tournament. SOS number 192 took place last Wednesday night. It was won by Bad V Villains. Samuel Whiskers took second place, and Stars rounds out your top 3 there. It is an Australian takeover of SOS that was halted by the Americans. Americans won SOS. All-Australian team, Samuel Whiskers took second place there. Hammerhead was won by What Are You? Mako Bracket, or What You Are. Mako Bracket was won by New Hayokara Rorian. Banners and Lantern Bracket was won by the Bad Guys. In the Zone number 44 took place on Saturday. It was won by Noah Ku Goss and a fourth player whose name I cannot pronounce from Japan. Brand.Q, Jared Gray took second place. Willie, Liam, Phoenix, and Harshi rounds out your top 3. This was a stacked In the Zone tournament, and that is a good thing considering Splat World Series is just around the corner, both being Splat Zone only events. A couple of players from Japan played in this In the Zone as well and won it. So good things coming. Good things taking place with Japan coming over and more Splat Zone events. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by the Low Ink Artist of the Month. Coming from your favorite team, the Origami Dragons, Izoto is the artist of the month. This is the second month in a row that Low Ink is offering a art prize to the winners of Alpha Bracket. Shout out to our staff member Emi, who has taken upon themselves to work on this Low Ink Artist of the Month program, and hopefully that is something we continue to move forward with in the future. The past two, or this artist and the artist we had last month, are both players that actively play in Low Ink, which is not a requirement to be one of our Artists of the Month, but it is nice that we are promoting our actual players in the artwork that they create. Just goodness all around. This was such an awesome thing. I'm glad we started doing it. The Low Ink Artist of the Month, the official sponsor of today's segment of the weekly recap. More talking to do. More talking. This is probably the least talking I'll ever do on a podcast episode. 2 guest interviews was awesome. Who's going to win the 2026 championship in the NBA? The Thunder. I don't buy in the Rocket hype. Kevin Durant's way too old for that. Oh, all right. So this next one is a recorded segment that took place Sunday night right after Grand Finals took place on Get On My Level. We talked to Cactus live-ish from the venue, and this is how it went. Now joining us live from Toronto, Canada, fresh off the Grand Finals commentary and host of the popular Dapple Productions podcast, the Cactus Patch. Cactus, how's morale across the border?
Across here over the border is incredible. I mean, I feel amazing. Obviously, coming right off of Grand Finals commentary, which huge shock to me to be able to have that opportunity. Could not be feeling any better.
So the first time I remember when I got a Grand Final opportunity, it was me and Falco, and we just DM'd each other kind of like giddy, like, oh, we get to do it. What was that feeling like when you find out you're going to get Grand Finals for this?
So it was so funny because when they first dropped the screenshot of the sheets, I saw first I was commentating the side event, the 2 players, 1 controller. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And I'm just looking down the list. I'm like, I'm not seeing my name again. I'm like, that's fine because I know there was a lot of people that wanted to commentate. And then I get to the very end and it says Grants. I just see me next to OBT. And I was like, oh my gosh, Grants. Because you have great commentators here, especially 2 well-known such as Falco and Nox. So the first thought to me was they would most likely be the ones to appear, but they took a chance on OBT and I feel we did a really great job delivering.
Hammy was there as well. I thought they'd
Yeah.
put the Canadian up there to defend home turf a little bit. But what
That's what you would think.
what I liked listening to you two is that it genuinely seemed like you two were just having fun talking with each other, which is like a is put on a higher pedestal when it's at a LAN and you two are sitting right next to each other. And I think that translated really well. I think there was some points where like nobody really cares what you're saying. And that's the point. We don't care what you two are saying, but you two are having so much fun saying it to each other that it's like, oh, I want to see these two goof around more.
Absolutely. And OBT and I go way back too. We first were on a team together called Aquatic Vanguard, which I'm sure you remember. And since then, we've been fairly close. We roomed a couple times for a couple lands with a few others. And just every time, like, we're able to go to like something like a major together, it's wonderful. It's fantastic. We always have great vibes. And like you said, yeah, we love to just goof off. We have a good time. And of course, we do our best to keep it professional to an extent of like, don't say anything you shouldn't say. Keep things, PG, and make sure when the game actually loads up to, talk about the game.
I've been to a bar with both of you before, so I
Yes.
and you know what? I appreciate those off mic conversations a little bit more than the on ones. But yes, I get what you're saying there. What's this story about you running in with TSA and Kermit the Frog making an appearance at the border check? What's that all about?
Yeah, so it's so funny. I never really have issues with TSA. Like TSA for me is usually pretty easy. I, put myself on, go through. Because I am a diabetic, I do carry sometimes snacks on me, and those get alerted, which is usually fine. It happens before. For whatever reason, this time when they do the wipe down of like your bag and your hands, my hands popped up on the alarm as something they need to check. So they're like undoing my suitcase, undoing my backpack, and as they open up my suitcase, it opens up with just kind of Kermit face down shoved in there. And I wasn't able to like see like their reactions because of course they have to do like their protocols, like pat down and make sure everything's good. But I can only imagine their thoughts of just opening my suitcase and seeing a Kermit puppet just kind of laying there.
So this wasn't the full body suit that you've had before. This is just like a puppet, as you said. Okay. And they didn't.
Yeah. This is just the little Kermit puppet I bring everywhere.
Okay, and they didn't question you why you kidnapped it. They were just like, all right, this is the thing. We're just gonna. All you had to do was say, "Look, I'm from Splatoon," and they would just wave you on.
Yeah, honestly, pretty much.
What all have you been doing outside of the venue? I know there's some talk Thursday about a group going to a Blue Jays game. I know there's the party boat coming out later. That's today. Not today as in Monday where people are listening to this, but Sunday. What is the outside the venue life been like?
It's honestly incredible. I've went to Niagara Falls. I went to an arcade. I got to try a couple of Canadian classics like ketchup chips and poutine. So that was really cool. There's also like I really love Toronto because it reminds me a little bit of home for New York. That's what I love about just big cities overall is they kind of all have the same vibe to them or a similar feel where it's like, yeah, you can walk 2 blocks and you're at one restaurant and you'll have like 3 more on the way. It's been very home-like, and I think that was easy for me to ease into coming, especially since like I'm rooming with like 4 other people, and then some of the friends I usually hang out are like a hotel. It's like 5 minutes away. So it was really cool to really just have a lot to do. I know there's a giant Toronto sign actually right outside this venue, which is inside a hotel, which is really dope. And actually right now I'm in what they call their quiet booths. So like I can really only hear like myself kind of echoing, which is really cool. But I would have loved to go down and record this stream this in the venue, but there's no good connection down there. I mean, you go down there and you might as well just be on no service.
So describe the venue to us. It's all in like the hotel is. It's a hotel venue, right? So like you just go down your escalator and you're right there.
Pretty much. A lot of people might, if you've been to like LTC and Riptide, it feels a little similar to like a Kalahari. at least for the hotel portion. But of course, it's like an actual like really tall your average hotel building, and then you take an escalator down. You take one escalator down to like a middle section, and then which is your bag check, and then you go down another elevator, which is pretty much the like convention room or showroom. And when you first go up the elevator, to your left there is the giant smash room. Then a door down is the artist alley, and then if you turn right, it just goes for like what feels like a 2-3 minute walk, which is pretty much everything else. They pretty much separated Smash overall to its own room, and then everything else, like the miscellaneous games in a sense, were in their own. So Splatoon was pretty much with like whatever other game that they had there was just all clumped into one.
And the setup was 2 stations. Where were you when you were doing commentary? Like, how close to the setups were you for that?
So yeah, so Splatoon, because we didn't reach a large number of signups, I believe the number needs to be 150, and we were like really short of that. So they didn't really provide much of like a streaming setup. But huge shout out to Siren, who pretty much I think through, of course, the volunteers and people who donated their like docs and everything, was able to put up. So they gave us 2 setups right next to each other, and then maybe 5 feet away was the commentary booth, which was just a long table. You had 2 chairs set up. You had a bunch of wires just leading everywhere, and you had a Logitech camera propped with a lot of Scotch tape, just kind of being the commentator cameras. And yeah, you were right that you heard everything. You got to see everything, and I think which was really cool. I mean, it's not every day you really have an opportunity to be that close to not just the stream setup, but all setups overall. Because if you go, you're RIP LTC, but of course, maybe Riptide coming up soon, you have a stage where the players can go up, and usually like the commentators are behind, so they're kind of hidden away. But it's really kind of, I feel, meshed everyone together no matter what.
So when we IPL, we reached out to Siren, just being like, "Hey, do you want us to stream this? What are some of the logistics we need to work off site?" We got a good sense of what Siren was kind of dealing with, and we're like, "What? Like you don't? It's just you?
Yeah.
You don't have a streamer? How did the stream work? Because I'm hearing stories about how like the streamer, instead of it being like an actual professional company, like we're used to seeing Level 1 do with Riptide and LTC, it was like a rotating position, like you're the streamer for this block kind of thing.
Yeah, that is exactly what it was. You had everything was set up through like Siren's laptop. You had 1 or 2 laptops that were set up to stream everything and set everything up. You had players who have never even touched a spec cam before also touching the like laptop production setup to switch scenes and make sure that we're setting the rooms up. And it really was like the bare minimum possible of what Simon was handed, and just the courtesy of the community just willing to help.
Do you know more? Did you pay attention to the viewership when you were on? And did you realize more people were watching this live than watch Super Jump?
Wow. I didn't, you know what? I would have loved to, but there was no connection in that room ever. And if you wanted to, you had to literally go back up the escalators to like the main entrance and just hang there for a connection. Some people were lucky. Maybe it's because I'm American, right? Coming over the border, I don't have a strong connection to the services here, but if you were lucky, you had a little bit of connection, you get a couple messages out, a couple obviously taking pictures or whatever. But I do believe I was able to kind of get a quick glimpse during Grands, just because I like to sometimes look at chat, see if there's anything that maybe someone has questions about, or just anything that pops up. I think it was like 400 at one point. I'm not sure what it capped out at though. I unfortunately wish I could have seen, but I did not.
It was closer to 300, like teetering to go over the edge of 300 than more so 400, but still it was a lot more than what I was anticipating.
My eyes failed me pretty much.
So you've been to everything, right? You've been to LTC, Riptide, the New York stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
You're at MomoCon, I think, too. Compare this, like, what is the one thing that stands out about this event that's different from the others, if there is anything that kind of stands out?
I was talking a little bit about this to OBT on the stream, but what I feel really stands out is because of the lack of multiple stations and a huge gap between like an audience per se to like the commentary desk and like a stream set, is that it's all just closed in and conjoined. So you never really were away for too long to miss anything, because sometimes I like a Riptide, you have a couple stream sets that people want to watch, and then you have the huge line of chairs in the crowd, and then you have maybe 2-3 sets that are finishing behind, and those are the sets no one really watches. They're interested at watching first, finding a good seat because Grant's coming soon, and the next thing is being able to watch whoever it is on the big screen. So this was very compact, and I feel it gave a lot more of a closed in friendly vibe than something like MomoCon did, where MomoCon, you had, I believe it was like 4 setups that were like just past the like huge like anime convention part of everything, and then you had to walk for like 2 minutes to the main stage section and get set up. So you always had everyone kind of split up until, of course, Grands, where they're closing everything else down and hey, it's time to watch Moonlight win it, just like they did, of course, here.
Do you think you got a sense of like a lot? Like, did you get to see a lot of the sets? Since there's only 2 stations, you basically like you just turn your head, you see the entire tournament instead of like having to look over the entire room, like you said. Is there any set that like what was the best actual set, regardless of context, that you personally saw?
Regardless of context, because I pretty much did see all of the events, all the matches happen. The only ones I didn't, I think, were some of the group stages, because obviously I wanted to explore Toronto a bit more and get some food, which I still have to do today. But I think the best set I saw, I'm going to give 2. One was definitely Silver Grands, and huge shout out to Dio, because Dio was really a hype man when it came to Silver, and I think that really pushed for a lot of people to kind of turn heads and look and hype it up itself. And then regular top cut bracket, I would say the next best one was Snowflakes versus the Pro Chara pickup. That set was exhilarating.
That was Rusty Bucket Bay losing the Snowflakes, I believe 3-1. Was that one? That one wasn't on stream,
yep,
or was it?
That set. I believe it was on stream, yes, because I remember right after talking to all the players from Snowflakes, and of course they're hyped. They're like immediately heads to their phones, responding to like 30 messages of their friends who were watching them compete. And it was funny because like I feel like it was a good split of like you had most of the good matches on the stream one, since it was the one of 2 setups. And as for the one that wasn't, I don't know if it's just the fact that like most people were interested, of course, watching the stream set, but most of the ones on the other station weren't as loud, in a sense. The crowd wasn't going ballistic. Here and there, maybe you had the close friends that were supporting those teams, but overall, it was just amazing.
Do you know what the term Rusty Bucket Bay means?
I don't.
It's a level in the original Banjo-Kazooie. It's by far the worst level in that entire game. It's a really weird reference, and I don't really understand where it came from. But it's one of the few pickups where it's like, hey, I'm old enough to know what that is. Very obscure. Okay. Did you get to like mingle with anybody? Like, did you get to, who's the most interesting person you've met that you've probably never met before?
Most interesting person I met. I never met. Honestly, I think that's gonna have to go to Mello. Melomania. I've interacted with them a couple times online. Never really played the game with them. Never really had strong interactions. But we both have different. Well, both have similar friends, and just in the group that we went to this event with, and they've been just so fun to just talk to and overall just hang out with. One of the night, I think it was the first night. Their group and some of my group and a couple others went to a karaoke bar, which I actually ended up losing my voice pretty early on, but I still have it enough for today. But I did sing my heart out for one or two songs.
What was your favorite song that you sang at the bar?
I think honestly it had to be when I first walked in. I actually showed up a little later with Dio. Because most of them had already went there, just kind of get the room and everything and set up. And I think it was maybe an hour in. I went and I walked in on them singing the Pokemon theme song. So the second I walked in, of course, I was like, "Yeah, let's go right into it." And there was two different mics, so I guess if you want to duo, so they threw a mic at me, and me and Hammy just went absolute ballistic, finishing off the song.
That's kind of what I enjoy about these lands where, unfortunately, you don't have a big hangout spot. And maybe that's what the party boat's going to be tonight. But you don't have that fire pit. And as much as people have been trying to recreate the LTC fire pit experience, you just can't. But what you do is kind of what you're talking about. You just run it. You got your group, and then you run into another group, and then you just kind of osmosis combine together. And then you just kind of meet people you haven't really met before. And before you know it, you're singing Pokemon with each other. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, it's been incredible, and it's so cool too, because this is just my personal experience that how I'm going to take the end of, or just this entire weekend is, there's been a huge aura battle with me and Mello, and I guess two members of Moonlight. But yeah, that's just been a consistent theme, and there's been a lot of random things that my name has been thrown to for jokes, so that's going to be a lovely memory I'll take with me. And something else, for those that maybe know OGFT win, Shaq was there, and Shaq's super amazing, really nice, amazing person. When I was having them sign my poster, I gave them some merch that I made that I usually forget that I bring, and one of those was business cards. So Shaq just took a handful of them and started going to pretty much every single person that was there for Splatoon and just saying, "Hey, do you know this Cactus guy? Well, let me tell you about him." like my agent, like a salesperson. And it was just incredible. I never really interacted with Shaq like that before either. I'm not close with them, but for the brief moment I've been able to, in the past couple of weeks, kind of just talk a little bit more when I've been streaming myself, since I literally stream every day, and I still have to today. And then pop into Kio's chat. It was almost like we've known each other for years. It was just incredible. They're so welcoming, and this is just definitely going to be one of my most memorable lands I've been to.
I was about to say maybe Shaq takes the cake for most interesting, but props to Mello though, and I did see Mello do commentary. I've had Shaq on this show maybe 3 years ago, and that was one of my more favorite interviews that I've done. So yeah, you got someone else to bring onto your show now. That's what you got. You got somebody with your business cards, everything ready to go. What's this I'm hearing about?
Yeah.
People jumping into a fountain if Moonlight drops a game?
Oh man, so that pretty much is the group that I was my group and also the Mellow group. We had 4 different teams, and I think most of us ended up we're going to go against Moonlight. So there was a joke where oh, whoever takes the game off Moonlight will jump into this fountain that's near the Toronto Farm right outside the venue.
And obviously that did not happen because Moonlight, like they did at MomoCon, took care of business against everybody, including their own coach in grand finals. As you were commentating that,
yeah,
I'm sure you're able to see the set. I mean, it's such a weird thing to think about. Grand finals, we usually got this audience, a stage to look at. during that grand finals, everyone's just kind of huddled around that station like it's a bar fight, right?
Yeah, so that's also a huge difference from this event compared to any other major that we've had, is that there was no seating for Splatoon. Since we didn't, reach specific numbers, we didn't get an official stream set up. So it literally was pull up a chair, sit down, relax, kick it, or stand, and you're gonna watch grand finals huddled around. And it was unique, to say the least, very unique of an experience. But I think I think a lot of people enjoyed it. Honestly, I think a lot of people enjoyed it, just being able to be that close to the players, the set itself, watch whatever POV they wanted to watch of whoever was playing. And I mean, they acted like any other crowd, any other event. You had your ready goes, you had the hand clappers that were being used in between games, which was huge. Props to Siren to notifying that, so that way players can actually focus, especially for some that are a little ear sensitive. But yeah, overall, I think it was very well taken care of.
So nobody was in Mecha's ear with a hand clapper trying to get him to like lose a 1v1 to a Mega or something. Okay, that's
yeah,
good
no,
to know.
thankfully not. Thankfully, they all got a yeah.
Because that was in my mind. It's like, okay, they got all these clappers, but they're all just huddled around it. Okay, cool. Siren, TO of the year work right there. So what are you expecting from this party boat thing? Like, do you know who all's going? Is it just Splatoon? Is it everyone, Smash included? Like, what is this thing?
To my knowledge, it's everyone. It's everyone who purchased one. So there's going to be Smash, Splatoon. I do know a good chunk of Splatoon players that are going to go. But it's apparently like a giant yacht that was rented out. And I think it's like a 3-hour time they have. I personally don't know if it's like one of those like sit-in dock yachts where like you can go on it. It's like attached, so like you could like get food and stuff, and of course enjoy the party boat. I heard a lot of people saying apparently it's supposed to leave the dock and just travel around. So I'll find out in whenever it happens. I don't even know. I have to check the time for it. I'm just kind of following whatever my group decides. Oh yeah, it's time to go.
You just bought a ticket for a boat. You don't really know where it's going or where you're going to end up. And just, sure, stop on. You're along for the ride. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's two options. I'm either stranded in Canada or they bring me back to the U.S.
Yeah. One of those sounds infinitely better than the others. I'll just say that. Because there's one side that apparently has ketchup chips and the other doesn't.
Definitely.
When we think back to this, and hopefully this is the first of many GOMLs to come, what is the one thing we're going to think about when we think of the first GOML that had Splatoon?
I think the first thing that we're going to think back to is, no matter the restrictions, the limitations, the issues we are given, and the circumstances we get put into about not having what would feel like a very major feel of an event, we always found a way to make it happen. Again, I could praise Siren as much until I'm blue in the face, but it's a huge shout out to all the volunteers, all the players, just everyone making it, no matter what, feel like a major, feel like a LAN. And I know a lot of, I forget which event it was where there was like a mini Splatoon event. I remember the Rosa Battle was, I think you had her on to talk about the event where it was like in a basement with like Splatoon stuff on the floor. And I like to kind of piggyback that, where like this kind of felt similar, where like we had enough signups where they were able to give us 2 stations, and we put in the effort as a community to make sure we had a stream. We always made it feel like a really cool event, even if it felt pretty small. And I feel going forward, hoping, as I'm hopeful that, GOML will bring us back on, as we increase our numbers, we'll slowly start building up the reputation, and also the player pull-in for this event.
What is next for you when it comes to the Cactus patch? You got anything on the docket?
I have a couple things. I do want to have you on probably sooner than later, and that will happen once I'm probably a little more settled in from coming back from across the border. I do have a plan. I'd love to have K-Bot on. So I have a little book at home where I wrote people I'd love to have on and what to discuss. But don't worry, eventually you'll be on, hopefully within the month, and you can stop saying that you've never been on.
You've been saying that for like a year, and here I am, just waiting. My DMs are empty. My DMs have not been lit up. Now, when you have K-Bot on, let me give you a pro tip, because I've talked to K-Bot 5, maybe 6 times on the Popcast. Only have like 3 questions. Just ask 3 questions. He'll fill the time with those 3 questions. That's all you need. Just let him talk.
You got it. I'm writing that in my notes right now.
Cactus, thank you. I know it's I appreciate you taking time to do this. I know when you're like in-person stuff, you want to do in-person things. So I'm going to let you take care of that, get some food, and hopefully you make it back on shore at some point tonight. That would be helpful.
That's the goal, Popgun. Thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, I'm gonna go find my group, and I'm sure I'll be sending a couple of Discord messages. I see I have quite a few notifications already. So thank you so much for having me on.
And that was Glitch Cactus talking about Get On My Level that took place yesterday. Yeah, I really liked what Cactus said about the whole venue thing, like the whole community thing, because if there is a GOML next year, I would assume there will be like a step up as far as like what is presented to Splatoon. And somebody sent me a picture of like, here's what the Smash scene looks like, and here's what the Splatoon setup looks like. And it's like, Splatoon's just got to be happy to be there. Of course, they're not going to give like a stage and stuff when it's such a like for 15 teams, but it's a foundation. Hopefully, they see it as a foundation of something that can grow, and something that can become like the next LTC or something like that. It seemed like everybody who talked about Toronto in general said how much of that was the best city to host the LAN in. And, as there's always a bunch of conversations about, well, we need to move Riptide. Well, maybe support GOML. It's in Canada. There is no red or blue state. It's the whole country. So yeah, I hope there's more continuation of that going forward. But I really liked how Cactus kind of pointed out how the community as a whole just kind of comes together to make that thing happen. But obviously a huge, massive shout out to Siren, who I know like she didn't solo it from the perspective of like there were people helping out, but as far as like TOing the thing and I'm assuming getting it all together, that's all passion. That's all that's all want to, that's all. And I'm sure, I've had Siren on before. It'd be good to have her on again. I was sure it was probably something like a passion project to be able to bring a LAN to Canada at an event like Get On My Level, which has been pretty huge for the Smash scene in recent years. And I watched the Smash finals, the Melee finals yesterday as well. I'm sure it wasn't an easy thing to pull off. But that's again kind of like what I was talking about, inspiration leading to new events. All the events that Siren's been to and the events that Siren has led here in the States, to be able to bring an event like that back to Canada probably felt pretty good. And it from everybody else that went over to it, it seemed like everyone had a really great time. I think Cactus even tweeted out earlier today that was like the most fun he's ever had at a LAN, which is awesome to see. So that's going to do it for today's episode of the Popcast. Probably the least talking I've ever done on a podcast, which is awesome. We'll be back next week. We're going to recap Low Ink. We're probably going to do a Low Ink preview on Friday. Start setting up Splat World Series, which is just around the corner as well. Lots of good stuff, a lot of exciting stuff. Get vaccinated, stay safe, wear a mask when applicable, and we'll see you on Friday, probably. Maybe. Clan Blitz, you do not have a podcast, and if you do, nobody's going to watch that. Clan Blitz is not that exciting. Better than Rainmaker, though. We'll give you that.